87.
How many days did they have to have been stationed there or passing through?
Well, reading this, it's just if you for sure, if you spent overnight there, you qualify.
So, if you had orders, whether you were a Coastie, a Navy member, maybe an Air Force or Army, probably even Merchant Marines if I went out on a limb here.
Yeah, but could be.
It could be. What I'm saying is if you had orders, if you can recall a time in your past between those years, 53 and 87, that you were there, then you need to scramble and see if you can find those orders, or you need to contact an accredited representative that can help you locate those orders to prove that you were, what can we say, boots on the ground in Camp Lejeune?
Yeah, well, you definitely had to have boots on the ground, and from what I know right now, I would think you had to have been there overnight. Let's go with that as a qualifier.
Yeah.
If we find out different, we'll, of course, bring it immediately to you. But one of the main things here is that the VA is still working on the regulations. So.
Explain that. What's the process here with that?
Well, the process is they put it in the Federal Register that this is what they plan to do. Service Connect presumptively those 8 conditions that I gave you, and then that goes in there for 90 days. They take comments over that 90-day period. Then after that, they answer the comments and make any changes if they agree with some of the comments made. And then they have to change the regulation and they have to change the manual. And so all of that takes, a few months from now. So it's not immediate. And all of that has to be accomplished before they can establish an effective date. But what you should be doing is getting ready to file your claim and tell them some things they need to do right now.
Well, this is interesting, and I'm just looking through the press release, and it's we were talking about how much time they would have had on the ground there.
Right.
The proposed, as you mentioned, all right, it has to go through this entire process before it's actually put into the statute, right? Made law, and then it's codified, and they go into manuals and all that crap. But veterans who have a record of service at Camp Lejeune between those years, and you develop one of these awful diagnoses.
Right.
And I can only imagine the number of Marines, whether they're men or women, in maybe their 80s, maybe even 90s, and their skin is tightening. And if you've ever seen anybody with scleroderma, you'll know what it is the moment you see it. It's literally like it's tightening up, like they've almost passed on. If anybody's seen a cadaver that has gone through those processes, or somebody that's been exhumed, that's what scleroderma looks like. It's awful.
Nasty.
But the idea here is that if you've been on station there and you were presumed to have been exposed and you have any of these conditions, you need to see if you can get a doctor or even go through your progress notes. Like, for instance, kidney cancer. Gosh, I think you're going to know what that is.
Yeah.
All right. Any of these cancers, leukemia, scleroderma, maybe not so much. Multiple myeloma, all those you're probably going to know about. Parkinson's disease. Maybe you've got Parkinson's and you don't know where it came from. No doctor's saying, hey, did you ever go to Camp Lejeune?
Exactly.
You need to listen to American Warrior Radio. You need to spread the word, and they need to collect information indicating they have that diagnosis.
Yes, and you need to collect information that supports you were at Camp Lejeune. And that may be the hardest part of the process of filing the claim, is getting some proof you were stationed at Camp Lejeune.
And why is that so, Glenn? Because even as I go through NPRC for my own records, and I can find scant little evidence of the TDY orders and whatever I had, why don't we have that? Why isn't that an important part of our personnel jacket, that they maintain these orders, whether you did a TDY there or whether you were stationed there?
Well, let me tell you, if you order your record, and the out processing records clerk did their job according to the military regulations, they pulled all that stuff and threw it away.
You like that?
So yeah. So don't plan on finding your orders at all, probably. But you may have comments in a proficiency report that was written.
Family.
Can I also say go to your SMRs, your service medical records? If you've been seen by a doctor, maybe it was for you bumped your toe, It's going to show that you were at Camp Lejeune.
Yeah, and they don't throw those away, fortunately.
And hopefully you've gotten a copy of yours.
Yes.
All right, everybody out there in American Warrior Radio Land, if you are a veteran, even spouses of veterans, and even those that have passed on, because some of the benefits Glenn and I talk about from time to time do apply even after the veteran has passed away. I mean, there's potential for filing.
Yeah, once this finally gets effective, people, to my knowledge, they're going to be able to, if the veteran was in Camp Lejeune, you can prove that, and they died of one of these 8 conditions, then the dependent spouse is going to be able to file for dependents indemnity compensation, and that's about...
And even burial benefits.
And even burial benefits, for a good point. Even if the veteran has passed on, as long as they passed on from, again, kidney cancer, liver cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, leukemia, multiple myeloma, scleroderma, Parkinson's disease, and aplastic anemia myelodysplastic syndrome.
Oh, you said that like you know what you're talking about.
Well, I've seen that word before.
Let's give them a hypothetical. We've got listeners out in Arizona. Let's say some gal, some widower is out there, and she knows full well, because she was stationed with her husband at Camp Lejeune back in '81, and he passed away from kidney cancer. What can she do, Glenn?
Well, what she can do is, the best thing to do is see an accredited representative, and he should lead, and will, I'm sure, lead you to what kind of evidence they need. You go home and search for that, and you may find it what you need, or you may not find it, and then he should be able to assist you in trying to obtain some proof that you were at Camp Lejeune with your husband in this particular example, and get that, and get the death certificate that shows he passed from one of these 8 conditions we've told you about, and then...
Or that they were a contributing cause. There may have been...
a contributing cause.
Yes,
Excellent
it just
point.
has to be on that death certificate to some notation about one of these disorders.
Right. And then see that accredited representative help you file a claim for dependents indemnity compensation.
Which is real money.
Real money, close to $1,300 a month.
Tax-free?
Tax-free, yes, sir.
We like free.
We like that tax-free, too.
Oh, definitely.
And file that claim, and then sit back and wait, because it's going to take close to a year to get that DIC claim done, unless you are terminally ill or something serious like that, or a homeless
yeah, very few exceptions to get something expedited, but those would definitely be one of them.
Yeah.
Now, I have to, borrowing one of your terms, foot stomp, again, one of probably the easiest ways you're going to prove whether you are a veteran himself, or a spouse or family member. One of the easiest ways to prove you were at Camp Lejeune is to go through their service medical record.
Exactly, because unlike the service personnel record group, they don't throw things away from your service medical records.
But you have to get a copy of it. You should have a copy already, and I'm going to plead with you all you veterans in particular, listen up. You go to avetproject.org. You click on the benefits tab. Halfway down, you'll see the eVet Rex. It's a little hyperlink. Click on that. Follow the prompts. When you get to the box, it says, what do you want? You put and we've got this on various other sites that you can find out exactly what you want to ask for, but it's a one-time free issue of all your service medical / service treatment records, your one-time award of your medals, citations, all this jazz. Get this stuff collected. It can all be very valuable in substantiating a well-grounded claim. Our executive producer also says buddy statements, family statements that you were there.
Absolutely.
All that is powerful evidence to show you were on the ground. You had boots on the ground at Camp Lejeune. You have one of these diagnoses, or a surviving family member is able to assemble this. Then you have what's called a well-grounded claim, which is probably going to have success.
Exactly. And the key thing here I want to stop real quick is that you should get the evidence and file it with your claim. Don't rely on the VA to go get this evidence for you.
It probably
they're
won't
not
happen.
going to do it.
They're not going to do it, even though they have an obligation to by law. Hey, we have an obligation to come back for the second half of American Warrior Radio, and you can darn well bet we're going to keep our obligation because we love y'all. Hope you had a great Christmas. We'll be back in just a moment with Dr. Scott Fairchild and Heal the Warrior, Heal the Country here on AM 1060 WMEL. Don't go anywhere.